Welcome to the second in our series of channeling sessions from the members of Ashtar Command on Hades Base called 21st Century Atlantis and the 100,000. My name is Russ Hatfield and I am hosting this YouTube video with the assistance of my twin soul Kara, who you can see over my shoulder. She is a higher dimensional member of Ashtar Command and one of the speakers during this channeling session. Now, this channeling session, chosen for February, is a special one for anybody who has studied the history of Atlantis. I have spent much of my adult life fascinated by the subject and soaking up everything both fictional and non-fictional to ask questions to those who channeled in our sessions. This was one where the answers brought up a lot of information that triggered a number of memories for me and perhaps for others as well of a life back then. In it, Korton reveals the reason why Atlantis was colonized, with all its hope and promise, while giving us some understanding of why that dream died. Lessons learned, now it is all about the future and living the Atlantean dream in the 21st century. On Hades Base, that dream is already taking place, and the quest of the Syrians on the base to bring about more children operant in all 5 psychic skills is the main topic of Side 1. Conversations with Ashtar and Korton involve this discussion on genetics, where the plan to create a paradise on Earth that Korton brings up is implanted in our DNA. That plan is unfolding before our very eyes, and to know where that plan will possibly lead, Side 2 provides the answer as Omal explains the 100,000 individuals that will make up the original gene pool of an ascended Earth. While Omal has explained previously that it would take 144,000 individuals in a grand metaconcert to affect the planetary consciousness, there would be 100,000 who would be the inhabitants of an ascended Earth that would carry on the new race originally. Next, Kara challenges me back when this took place in 1995 to soak up information of anything and everything, and so I followed her edict for the next 20 years to where I eventually ended up releasing these channeling sessions with her, covering a multitude of subjects. Alana is the last guest speaker, and we find out from her a secret about dolphins few would know unless they spoke their language. That is just the highlights of a channeling session that truly stands out for having almost too much information to take in at one time. The only downside is a radio background bleeding through that had to be taken out as much as possible. So, like last month, it isn't as clear as we would like, and hope the clarity of knowledge is worth the lack of clarity in sound. You can follow our online transcript at the link below to our homepage, hadesbase.com, and please subscribe at the end of this video to be alerted to future channeling sessions, editorials from Kara and I, and lessons from the Center for Ascension. And now, we present this much channeling session recorded July 7th of 1995 called 21st Century Atlantis and the 100,000.
Now we're going to do this according to procedure and protocol that Tia established, and she says that she's not going to break the rules for anybody.
Understandable.
Okay, now down to business.
Oh, fine.
You have to talk louder.
What? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Okay, now tonight, got a crowded room.
So I hear.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to be busy.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk that much louder with this thing. It's picking up everything.
Oh, good.
Don't forget we have a new system we're working with.
Oh, yes, of course. Good.
We can whisper and it'll hear us.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, I shall put on Mistress Puss in Boots.
Did she bring all the cats in? Did Mark bring all the cats in?
There's only one that showed up. Okay. Oh well.
Hi to you.
Yo, hello.
We'll grab the cats.
Well, we got one here. One will be fine.
Where's the one?
He's gone off the monitor.
Yeah, he's not in the room. Hold on.
Okay.
Grab the munchkin.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he will do. Pam. 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 How now? Pam. Pam. Meow. Meow. I got through the preamble with him. Now, meow. 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 He knows what to do.
Okay. Passed on the other little bleed head.
Yes, I told him to communicate it to them if he wants to. But I think they sense that there's a mother cat down there anyway that needs protecting. Now, what you got to do is you need to get water down there.
Mm-hmm.
You need to discourage that white scabby male, or any other scabby male, because if a male comes and he smells the kittens, he will kill them. Do you know why he will do this?
Eliminate the competition.
No.
Why?
Because it will make her go into her ovulation cycle again.
Oh, right.
And she will have to replace the kittens. So it's for his continuing of his line.
Selfish little beast.
Yes. One of the things why I am very keen on cats being altered.
Don't believe there. It's like sexual slavery.
Pretty much so, yeah.
Hmm.
Since we've learned how to master our bodies, we're not slaves to our sexual urges. Now, do you have any questions for me?
Nothing ready.
Okay.
Nothing on house projection anyway. Anyway, I could go into a bunch of stuff on high and cosmic principles and everything, but I don't know if you want to or not.
No, I don't want to. I have somebody that I have to go and see, as you are well aware of.
Yeah, and I figured you were quite in the mood for high and cosmic principles.
No, I'm not.
Right, well, that's what I figured.
Yeah, I can go. Okay, I'm going to head off. I'm going to have a quickie, and then I'll go and see Kerry, which should really goof up her dreams.
Don't doubt that. Okay, love, have fun time.
Okay, I'll put Kerry on.
Alright.
Oh boy, what a day. What a day.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
The excitement. Huh?
Yes, I broke my finger.
Oh, how did you do that?
Yeah, with my laser solder. It's putting in a new line in the helmet, replacing one of the ones I burnt out.
Oh, you came in one.
Mm-hmm. It's trying to hold the line in place with a pair of tweezers, and I'm working on it, and it's like, ow! Got a little bit close. Nothing major.
Now, what do you call coercion? It's a attribute?
So tell them.
Okay.
Okay. So, what do you want to know?
How come ganja's so easy to coerce that?
I didn't coerce him.
Usually a little bit tougher.
He's just feeling very lax and mellow.
It seems like he's kind of he doesn't know what he wants to do, so he's kind of easy to...
Yeah, that is one of the keys to coercion, is when somebody's in a malleable mood, it's easy to coerce them. But I suppose I better put on the next person.
Okay.
As Kian might say, be careful. Greetings. Down to business, please.
Okay, what happened to Mark last night?
It was brought to our attention. We are looking into it.
Okay. Now then, Kara, Tia, Kiri, me, and Mark seem to be interbred throughout our lives to engender a race of operant children. Now, is that something that we planned ourselves in?
That is something we cannot discuss at this time.
Okay. All right. Now then, with all the disasters to come, will third-dimensional Earth become a paradise after technology has died on some timelines?
On some timelines, your planet is already dead. On others, it is not advanced very far. On other timelines, it is progressing at a spirit rate. Spirit meaning fast and then slow. Periods of advanced technology giving way to periods of poor technology, leading back up to advanced technology. Technology can be the cursor or precursor for advanced civilizations with a paradise world.
Oh, okay, understandable. Can you able to study those worlds that died or worlds that have not? It's just knowledgeable that have split off.
Correct. All things are possible.
Correct. Okay. Therefore, Hades Base and Ashtar Command has also split off into parallel worlds.
Correct. That is why we are unable to monitor those timelines.
Because you're part of them.
Correct.
Understandable. Okay, what can you tell us, if possible, anything about the stone used by the ETs and secret government out in Sedona?
Do not approach it. Do not astral travel to see it.
That was my next question. Okay, good. Can you tell me anything about it?
Yes. It is pure evil. It appears to be friendly. It whispers nicely. It does not. It leads down a path that is not to be walked.
Okay. And how much of an influence over third-dimensional Earth is it?
Its influences are influenced by the energy put into it. It feeds on light.
Okay, in other words, is it limited to the area around it, or can it expand itself out due to the fact it can travel on its own?
It can expand itself out, but when it is stationary, it expands itself out by its words and deeds.
So are anything that affects us is due to those people who are affected by it, while its words and deeds are doing the damage?
Correct. And it is people in between you and the people that are directly involved in it. It is a long chain.
Okay. Well, there's nowhere we can even attempt to do anything to it. Is there anything that can change this thing or defeat it? Or?
No. Or nothing worth discussing at this time.
Okay. Does it have an opposite?
Yes.
And is the opposite on Earth?
No.
Will the opposite be on Earth?
That is unknown.
Okay. All right. Is the problems we're seeing that have been related to us by Omal?
They are contributed by this factor.
Okay. And this enters into your calculations as to whether the speeding up of it is increased or not.
Correct.
Okay. Alrighty. Now, when we were dealing with, I'm dealing with a lot in the Bible lately. Is the prophets from the Bible channelers from that time, such as what we're talking with now?
Some, yes.
Okay. So when it says taken up by the Spirit of the Lord, we could be talking about it.
Correct.
A channel from,
Correct.
That's just the wording for it. Okay, understandable. All right, do you have any questions for me at this time?
Yes.
Okay.
Where do you see your children evolving to?
Healers of the psyche and physical being of future Earth, fifth dimensional or sixth dimensional.
Last night I had a discussion with an interesting young gentleman.
Oh, yes.
And it was discussed the possibility of procreation from them for a higher life form, again, for the Guardians.
Next step.
How do you feel about being the grandparents of the Guardian race?
Honored.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hey. So, Joe.
I'm still alive.
The headmaster has left. The principal. Okay. Greetings and felicitations for us.
Greetings, Omal. A lighter type of greetings.
Let us start again and see if you can get it right this time.
Ah,
Greetings and felicitations for us.
greetings, Korton.
Thank you.
Well, it's still lighter.
Yes, indeed. Do you have questions for me?
Yes, I do. Okay. First off, I wanted to find out a little bit of questions on past, something in regards to Atlantis,
Mm-hmm.
and in specifically Atlantean and Syrian procreation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now as we see it, man is divided into two halves: his base half and his higher consciousness half.
Mm-hmm.
And we're always struggling with raising our Syrian half with our primate half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, was Atlantis then a chance to jump up and shorten that process?
It appears that way, does it not?
It does appear that way. It looks like something went wrong.
It is a necessary laying step of what you could reach for.
Okay, so it sort of set a goal then, let's say.
Correct. But it was not to be. Because when they came from Sirius, they brought a disease with them.
Okay, that's my next question.
What is the disease?
Right. Now, my theory on this is that the Syrians who came to Atlantis were those who would not be making the jump up to sixth dimension.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Some of them would make the jump, but
Correct.
decided to come to Earth to assist in the consciousness raising.
Correct.
Now, those who decided to come to Earth were those who made the sacrifice then
Mm-hmm.
and decided not to go, because they knew that those people who wouldn't be going to sixth would need help also.
Correct.
And they chose to be teachers. Okay.
Now, what did they come to Earth to create?
Well, now that's what I have a feeling that they couldn't survive as a race indefinitely here. And they had to ensure their genes were passed on in the third dimension, so therefore they worked with the indigenous life form that was here.
But they were already spread throughout your galaxy.
Oh, they were. So why'd they come to Earth in particular?
Why did that particular group, the 7 races, come to your planet?
Well, I would assume that it was something like a precognition.
No, it was to create what? You discussed it with Ashtar just now.
To create the guardian race?
No.
To create a higher race?
No.
Okay.
You said when technology ceases what?
Oh, when technology ceases, it becomes a paradise.
That is what they came to create. A paradise with no war, no greed. What was the disease that they brought with them?
I'm tempted to say technology, but that would be wrong. So I'm going to say they brought with them war and greed.
Correct. War, greed, lust.
But you couldn't escape it. When we go to sixth dimensional Earth, we'll take all that with us too. It's in,
Correct, you will take it with you.
I
But
mean,
whether or not it blooms and blossoms and corrupts and destroys like it did on your planet, or does on your planet, is the question. Those that bring it with them, that it corrupts and eats, will revert back to a lower dimension. Those that do not give way will progress on.
all right, so we're back to the point of we've got a parallel between Earth and Sirius.
Sirius. Yes, quite correct. And what is occurring is your opportunity to be like Sirius.
Okay, so that takes us back to our first question, which was it a chance to shorten the process?
And the answer is no.
No, because
If you shorten the process, it does not work.
right.
It will bloom and then go wrong, and it blossoms too early.
Right. So basically, the Syrians at that time had a long-term plan.
Correct.
As do, though we don't have a plan yet, we will when we get to sixth-dimensional Earth.
You already do have a plan.
Oh, we do.
It is imprinted within you.
And it was imprinted back where we're talking about now in Atlantis.
It was imprinted before then. Those that could not make it to the higher dimension came to your planet to create a utopia, a paradise like the one that they would expect to see on the sixth dimension. But they brought their disease with them.
Of course.
Their disease ate and destroyed them. The survivors were dispersed over the planet, having inbred with a genetically altered primate. Thousands of years later, tens of thousands of years later, a race emerges, and again, tens of thousands of years after that, it achieves a point where it is ready, possibly to advance on to the next level.
Okay. Now, going up to sixth dimension doesn't necessarily mean that you will achieve sixth-dimensional consciousness.
Correct. That comes with time.
That only means that you have the opportunity because the dimension is less dense than third. Therefore, you have better chance to work with your talents.
Ask the keeper of the archives. She will be able to help you.
Okay.
Last question, please.
All right. Okay. Oh, here we go. Do crystals harmonize energies the way that songs do?
Yes.
Okay. Their own inner music, let's say.
Correct. Everything has an inner music.
Everything as in every animate or inanimate object. Then.
Everything.
Okay, that's what I was.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
You want to know something?
Hmm.
The keeper of the archives of Sirius is always a lesbian. Or not always a strict lesbian.
Well, who's keeper of the archives is talking about? Is that Luna?
No. Keeper of the Archives of Sirius is an honorary title which gives the individual access to the archives of Sirius.
Well, who's keeper of the archives I'm supposed to talk to?
Now, what did I just say about the keeper of the archives?
Lesbian.
Mostly. Doesn't stop her from having children from time to time.
Well, it's not you, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah. It's been in our house for a long time.
Well, you're not lesbian.
Hey, I prefer women over men anytime.
So? I mean, it's not like...
When I was given the title, I was 100% strict lesbian.
Oh. Yeah, I guess you were, weren't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's so long ago, it's hard.
Put it this way, I love Mark dearly, but if I had a choice between making love with Tia on her own or Mark on his own...
You'd be Tia in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. But I do love Mark deeply.
Well, that's good. Okay, well, since I'm talking to the keeper of the archives,
Mm-hmm.
what can you tell me about that?
I'd have to send through information.
Okay.
What do you want to know?
I want to know about the parallel to happen compared to what happened here on Earth.
Okay,
So, in other words, nothing about the future. It's just I'd like to get some information about the past.
Okay, I will send off some information to do with the relationship between Earth and Sirius. Okay?
Okay.
What do you think of the gossip there?
Oh, as if that wasn't expected.
It wasn't. It was totally expected.
I mean, that was in the pipeline back when they first got together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's going to have to come and meet the former Mrs. Max sometime, huh?
Mm-hmm. meets her granddaughter and her, how would you word that?
I don't know. It's a little
Daughter,
bit convoluted.
granddaughter? Yes, it is a little bit. Okay.
Alrighty.
Well, we've got time to talk.
Okay. Actually, be her sister-in-law's granddaughter?
No. Should be step-grandmother to Alana. Step-great-grandmother.
To Miranda.
Correct. Who is grandmother to Alana.
Correct.
Don't worry, it's not unheard of.
I'm sure it's not. Not with the lifespans and
Mhm.
past life recognitions that you guys go through.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what was Ashtar talking about when he was talking about Leonides working on the mixing of the two clans? And how would I feel about being a grandparent to the Guardians of Earth?
Basically, what he's asking is your permission for incest.
Well, wait a minute. That's not quite true. Because the Cubs and David and Michael
Are totally unrelated.
are totally unrelated.
But he's thinking of
Miranda and
Leonidas
Leonidas.
and Alex. And she's still fulfilling her part of the bargain. Can you hear her out there? Well, we've got the RF gain on high.
Oh, no wonder. So basically, what we're looking at is cousins.
Mm-hmm. Cousins breeding.
We do a lot of time back in the old hills.
Yes, well, you would know about that being a redneck, wouldn't you?
I would know that about having a truck like I do.
Yeah. You might be a redneck if
Yeah.
your cousin is your wife. You might be a redneck if you attend family reunions to meet women.
Mhm.
Yes, the Hatfields and McCoys.
Yes, I know. Okay, so basically what we're looking at
Mm-hmm.
is, okay, let's say that Miranda and Leonidas get together and have a kid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, any defective genes can be taken out up there on Hades
We
base.
don't have the defective genes in our family.
Well, if there was, because it's so closely related.
Mm-hmm. They probably weigh the chances of negative reinforcement. I'm a little bit not too sure about the idea.
Why not? How can I be totally up for this and you're not? You're the one who's a higher consciousness being. I'm just a starter at this stuff.
It's not so much that. What Ashtar is talking about is, okay, Miranda and Leonidas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Miranda and Alex, right?
Right.
Their children, union.
Oh, and then their children being you?
Mm-hmm.
No, that would make me a great-grandfather of the Guardian.
See what's happening is they're intertwining it real tight.
It's not a problem with me. That's Mark's problem at that point.
I don't think Mark has any taboos about that.
Well, I certainly don't. You know, hey, all I'm worried about is just the genes,
Mm-hmm.
as I'm always worried about. But if the genes aren't a problem, I'd say go for it.
Well,
I mean, what happens, like, you know, they get in the backseat of the car and they just don't hit it off, you know?
But I see Miranda. If the stories are correct about her,
Yeah, but that was her old ways. I mean, maybe she's going to be becoming a nun or something.
I don't think so. I don't think so. In
Following in
past,
her great-grandmother's footsteps.
that is my eventual goal when I reach 800.
Well, yeah, we're going to make a great nun, too, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
Mm-hmm.
what happens if, let's say, it becomes a point of fact where Leonidas and Alex want to get together with the Cubs?
There's no problem. I don't see it. There's a problem because their genes are far enough apart genetically. They share a father, certainly.
Well, what about if David and Michael get together with Miranda and Clara?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the talking about a little bit close.
That's
to,
right.
Close
That's
to the
what we're
bone.
talking about.
Okay. Now, is that what Leonides is talking about?
Mm-hmm. Leonides has about half the genetic knowledge that Kornas has,
Okay.
which is quite a lot if you think about it.
That's at least as much as Kara's got.
He's probably got a little bit more than
Kara, because she's not been working on it much lately.
That's right. She's not a geneticist.
Right. Okay, so
the other one finally shows up and Tia's gone. You guys have a discussion with Fairball down there.
no, he's gone outside already.
That's why there wasn't an engine signature down there.
All right. Okay, so basically the problem we're coming into is, how do we go ahead and, yeah, I know, I checked it myself. How do we manage to get everybody all cool about this? Now, Leonides, of course, is going to have total purpose in mind. When whoever he engenders any kids with, it's going to be for a reason. So who do you think he would have the best chance of making babies with? Miranda.
No, I think Clara maybe.
Why Clara?
Because she's older and mentally a little bit more mature than the others.
Yeah, but Miranda's the one who was almost a super opera.
Mm-hmm. He'll probably do both of them to see who gets pregnant first. You've got to remember that he's going to be a hell of a coercer.
Thing is, how can he figure this out before his testes even drop practically?
You've got to remember that his mind is more developed than his body. In fact,
no.
I think he's looking forward to the joys of youth, childhood.
Okay, here's a question for you, Darwin. All right. Syrians take longer to mature than Earth people do.
Yeah, 21 is when it's safe.
It's when it's safe, right? Whereas for us, well, 13. I mean,
Yeah,
you could,
I have heard.
Kids
I have heard of 20-year-olds having children.
20-year-olds. Okay, now that's not the question. Now these kids are hybrids. Now, what are we looking at a maturity rate here then?
I'm going to go with 21 to be on the safe side.
Now that's taking into a bias of what you're used to from your planet.
Correct. That's for safety.
Safety. But
I don't want my niece getting pregnant by one of my sons and then having difficulty for her giving birth and all the problems that would create.
But what if Kornas gives the go-ahead, the green light?
If Kornas says that they are ready to make love and get each other pregnant, then that's 16, fine by me.
Let's say.
That's fine by me.
Okay, because I mean, you got to admit, it could be 18 would be a nominal age for all of them with the hybrided genes.
Correct.
21, they might be over the hill.
No, I doubt it.
Well, no, I know, but you know what I mean. I mean, they might only live to be, 500?
Yeah. They've got plenty of time.
Yeah, right.
They've got until they're 400 that they can easily have children.
Yeah, with rejuvenation, they could go for a lot longer.
Correct.
But the thing is that, with the different genes and with the circumstances come up the way they are, it might be necessary to have kids sooner than later. What if circumstances demand?
It's possible that Alex could live the normal lifespan of a human.
True. But I doubt it.
I doubt it too. Miranda could have the normal lifespan of a human.
But even so, even with a normal lifespan, with rejuvenation techniques...
They could just about make 500.
Right. I mean, lifespan of us might be 70, maybe 100 if we really push it. But were we to be able to rejuve, I'm saying.
Yeah.
We could live to be 500 or so.
Yeah.
Our bodies are designed to live forever.
Come here.
It's just our outside...
You're not too sure, are you?
Influences.
I wish I could speak Catanese like Tia can. She's not sure of what's going on. Come here. Oh, go away then. It's possible. It's possible. I really don't... I'm not too... We've got a visitor.
Wow.
Sorry? Oh, Alana.
Oh, good. I have a question for her.
No, that's good. We'll finish up this side and then we'll flip over to the other side and I'll put on the last remaining 3 people.
Okay. How much farther we got on this side?
Oh, about 5 minutes.
Okay.
But it is an interesting dilemma, is breeding David and Michael with Clara and Miranda. Yeah, that is something that I'm a little bit concerned about. But what surprised me was I was asleep when Ashtar came over last night.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't you have any historical precedents for this?
I can't remember. I'd have to sit down with the master archive computer, and that would mean a week trip to Sirius, and Lee Needy's is too young to travel at the moment.
So nothing in your mind can remind you?
Not offhand, no. I can remember case histories of laws.
What's that?
The law of incest.
There is a law.
Mm-hmm. There is a law.
Against it or for it?
It states in certain situations where it is necessary to continue a genetic line, it is permissible. It is not permissible between lesser operants only having one ability, where they would override each other. For example, somebody that has coercion and somebody that has, let's say, PK engendering a child, where the two would override each other of the same level and ability. That is not permissible. A brother and a sister could not be allowed to have children at that point. These are old laws that have been repealed.
Oh, they're not in effect anymore.
That's correct. There is a father making love to his daughter for the purpose of having children is not permissible, because the gene reinforcement would be a negative reinforcement.
That's what we're talking about.
Except in cases of individuals with 2 or more abilities. But you have to remember that these laws are 2,000 to 3,000 years old.
And then great steps have been made in genetic research since then.
Correct. And the fact that it is rare for somebody to have less than 2 abilities. I myself have 3.
All right. Okay, now, Leonides, the Grand Master himself,
Has all 5 of them.
has all 5. Therefore, he can have children with whoever he bloody well wants.
Mm-hmm. And that is another part of the incest law, is that people with more than 3 abilities, and back then, 3 abilities was a super opera.
Really?
Yeah, were permitted to make love with their sisters or brothers if they had 2 or more abilities that were not conflicting abilities or not reinforcing abilities,
Oh, I see.
which would give the children the possibility of 5 abilities, but 9 times out of 10 it did not work. But that 1 time out of 10 was worth the boon.
And that one time has helped engender the massive amounts of super operants you now have on your hands.
There's still not that many, but
Yeah, but it's more than it would have been had the laws been in effect.
correct.
Or the laws been more stringent,
Mhm.
let's say.
In fact, there was a very early law which gave super operants rights over everything for procreation.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. It was a very harsh law.
In other words, they could do anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Sisters, brothers,
Strangers on the street.
strangers on the street.
Mhm.
Wow.
And that was a time where genetic experiment was really primitive. A little bit more advanced than on your planet, but not much more.
I see. So now it's a big change.
Mm-hmm. It was felt at the time, I believe, if my memory is correct.
I kind of have the feeling that David and Michael aren't going to want to knock up Miranda and Clara just because of the fact that their operant abilities are so close together. I think it'd be more likely that
Mr.
Mark's clan and my clan, or
Mhm.
your kids, Tia's kids and my kids and Cara's kids will all get together back and forth that way.
It's possible. I mean, we can sit here and speculate until the cows come home.
Well, because we have our side has a few different operant abilities that would beneficial to your sides,
Oh, yes, and vice versa.
and vice versa, correct. So our kids would be super operants with possibly all 5 with more chances that way.
Mhm. But you have to remember that Miranda, when she was alive, as my mother, was one very horny young lady.
Sure.
I mean, the reason why she went on, or one of the reasons my father told me that she became an engineer on a flight ship, was the fact that it gave her access to lots of sexual experience.
Okay, now what about...
Right, I suppose I better put on the next speaker.
Okay.
Didn't mean to stutter. So. What's happen?
Spend time in UFOs, I'd say.
Yes, I heard all about that from you. I thought it was funny.
Right, too.
Live long and prosper. Greetings, Russ.
Greetings, Omal.
And
I got it right!
And how... with only one person or the deep voice left, I don't see how you would fail to get it right. And I noticed that you were very careful in not mentioning Ashtar's name until at the end when he'd given you confirmation that it was Ashtar.
Well, just playing it safe, you know.
I think even Korton could not be that abrupt.
No, that's true. Korton has been that abrupt, but not quite that bad.
No, and not...
He's been in a very fast hurry with meetings and stuff.
Yes,
like,
and not...
He's at least at high.
and not beating you to the question.
Right.
You're ready to answer... You ask one question and you get the answer for the next question, and possibly the question after that as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you could do that too if you wanted to, I'm sure, but it gives away all the fun.
Yes, it does take out the entertainment.
All right. Well, here we go. All right. Last week you mentioned the white light covering Skip prior to learning how to use shields.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is that utilized once you are able to use shields?
It is the root core, the substance that fills the shields.
Okay, and can that be then strengthened throughout, to improve shields?
It is the substance that absorbs the energy once it has penetrated your shield, slows it down so you can move away and repair your shields.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, in other words, it's sort of like a filling.
Correct. It is a little bit like a sponge.
Yeah, okay. I get it. Which is what we were talking before, but I believe before we were coloring it.
Correct.
It wasn't just white, we were using different colors.
White is so much easier to use.
Right. I see. So this is a simplistic form of the foam.
Correct.
Cover. Okay. Got it all. Good. That explains a lot. Alrighty.
He certainly does cut you down to size sometimes.
Yeah, it was like, I asked him the question about the crystals. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
No explanation, just yes.
Yes. Oh, alright. Well, I guess I got that one already down. Yeah, us third-dimensional beings can be a little bit slow at times.
Yes.
He kind of wants us to work a little bit harder to make sure we're not that slow.
Correct. I feel that what he does is very good. Of course, he is the overall area commander.
Oh, of course.
And he has his own teaching techniques. And I do think that his forcing you to think and think quickly is very good. I myself do not prefer that teaching method.
I prefer your teaching method by a lot.
With humor?
Yes. I learn a lot quicker with you than I do with him. With him, it's like, pop quiz!
Yes.
Oh, okay. What have we learned this entire week? Well,
it may be useful to get Mark or get his body a glass of water as he appears to have an aquatic life forming in his throat.
One frog killer coming right up.
A short pause, a dull interlude. Whilst Omal will do a seldom heard thing of sing. I woke up this morning, feeling so sick, I thought I was dead. Oh yes, I did. I rolled over to my pillow, and I threw up, all over that.
Here we go.
Yeah, thank you. You just missed a rendition of singing.
I was hearing a little bit of it.
hydrogen and oxygen, I believe, with flavouring.
No flavoring. Just distilled. So, none of the bleach and chemicals.
Yeah, that is why it tastes more pure.
Right.
Okay.
That'd be good for them for exchange.
Yes. Instead of the chlorine and the fluoride they put in your water.
Never did figure that one out. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to go to the heavy stuff now.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised you did not ask Ashtar. He would have given you a much more detailed explanation.
All right. No, I'd rather just work with this one.
Okay.
All right. Now, since I'm working on the Bible a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering about when I was talking to Ashtar on the third Earth becoming a paradise and after technology. Now, obviously, on the timeline that we're looking at, that's probably not going to happen with a paradise, third dimensional Earth. It's probably going to be a hell on Earth. Kind of thing. Now, those needing less lessons would probably follow that timeline, though, where it become a paradise. Where those needing more lessons would follow the timeline then going on to that Earth as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Which is how I would see it.
That is logical.
Okay, now in the Bible we're talking about the second coming.
Mm-hmm.
Now is this we're talking about Sananda coming to guide on the third or fifth Earth, or third Earth, or the sixth Earth?
More than likely the sixth Earth. It is an area that I do not know very much about. I can speculate. And Sananda would reveal his true self.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come and say, "Follow me, I will show you the ways, but then I must depart." He would explain his situation, his being, and demonstrate that he is a son of a higher level.
Right. I can't see him doing it down here. It'd be like...
No, he would not do it.
It would be redundant because he's already done that once.
Correct. But he would do it on the sixth Earth.
Right, because of the fact that back then in the biblical times, Earth was at the same point that sixth-dimensional Earth would be when he would come back again.
It would be actually a stage beforehand.
Right, yeah, stage beforehand, right.
You've got to remember what is the number of the people that will start the original gene pool on the higher Earth.
Are we dealing with 144,000?
100,000, actually.
100,000.
144,000 is the term used by the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Right.
It is actually less. But there would be more people coming in the time after. These would be the creators of the new world, much as they were on Sirius. And you really should have talked to Kiri about that. She would be able to give you information, and she's shaking her head saying that she already has enough research to do.
No, I don't hear it too much. Basically, how do you feel about this, what Ashtar was talking about with Leonese?
I think it is a good thing. Your gene records are pretty clear. You do not have any, I do not wish to use the term defective, but it is the only one that would explain the situation fully.
Right, and you're right. Just a self, monitoring thing. Yeah, I would say you're right.
You do not have any brothers or cousins that were genetically deformed at birth.
Right, and then all my relatives on both sides have had no history of like hair loss or problem with cancer or anything that was caused by anything other than,
All Mark's grandparents were long-lived.
Right, so are mine. Good, well, this should work out just fine then. Alright, let's go over to the good stuff now. We've had enough fun there. Alrighty. Now, we're going on to survival into the 21st century.
Okay.
Which is jumping right up upon us now. So let's go on to the next level.
4.5 years away.
That's true. Okay. Now, tuning the mind to the extrasensory level.
Mm-hmm.
This would be happening if we were to go ahead and claim our birthright of being created in the image of God, all perfect, all knowing, and all present. even a portion of that would give us that extrasensory level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, is that talking about then working with a higher amount of brain cell usage?
A high percentage of brain use, yes.
Okay.
But who was the creator of your race?
The Syrians.
A Syrian.
A Syrian, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And who was that Syrian?
Me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was just a hobby. That has something to
Yes,
do with time.
Yes, we all have to have hobbies from time to time.
Indeed. All right.
Mine is making brick walls for people to climb over.
Hey, that's good. I like that one. We should give them a ladder once in a while.
No, just a piece of rope.
All right.
Here.
Thank you. I'll use it wisely. All right. Now, the other thing I have is... Okay. When we're talking about extrasensory consciousness or awareness, I'm reading about Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness.
It does not matter. It is the same.
It's the same. Would create
Jehovah consciousness.
Yeah. It would create a flood of euphoria that would heal illnesses in your body.
Correct.
Now, is this the same thing that we're talking about here? The extrasensory?
It is more of a revelation of what the body can do. All of a sudden, wow, I can do that.
Right. Now, I've talked with Samantha,
Mm-hmm.
and, even channeled through Mark, his presence can be felt as just this like 10,000 watt light bulb.
Yes. I would push it higher myself personally.
Okay. But I mean, yeah, you spend more time with it than I ever have.
Yes, in fact, I'm going to a meeting. I will be unavailable next week. I'm going to a meeting on Centauri base to meet with other base commanders, and Ashtar will be there, and then Sananda will be there.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that'll be good for you then. Being as you get to talk to the bosses of bosses.
Yes.
But now, how would you, let's call it Sananda consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
It is a state of perfect harmony where not only do you think six-dimensionally, you act and speak and feel and think. And I hate to repeat myself, but thinking six-dimensionally is part of it.
Oh, I see. But now, you're talking acting six-dimensionally, when in actuality, it'd be even higher than that, wouldn't it?
No.
Oh, really?
It is six-dimensional behavior and thinking. The fact that it permeates through the higher levels to more and greater extent the higher you go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it starts at the sixth.
Correct.
I see. You can achieve it here on third.
What would you do
early.
if I materialized down there in my true form?
Maybe a cup of tea.
One would be appreciated if I did that.
I'm sure it would be.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. I mean,
and I am getting close to that point where I will be pure light.
Oh, you will?
Yes, in another 5,000 years or so.
Now, I remember
my purple skin will no longer upset people.
I remember when we were talking with Roger,
mm-hmm.
and you were channeling through him at that time,
mm-hmm.
and talking how you were going to be born into a third-dimensional body. And I was going,
that is still a possibility.
Well, yeah, but I was thinking that would be kind of redundant. Well, not that you haven't done it. It's just that why go down a level? I mean,
why did Sananda go down a level or many levels?
That's true.
Now I might do it in between my points of higher consciousness before I become pure light, like Korton.
Right. Oh, it's something to contemplate.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
It is an option. I might temporarily have my body put into a state of stasis and step out and be reborn for a period of time.
I see. Well, it's kind of a nice place to hang out. I mean, for a third dimensional world, it's got its charms. I wouldn't want to live too definitely long.
But you have to remember also that Roger did drink, which did muddle his thought process that made it very difficult for me to mesh with him.
That's true. I kind of thought some of that might be a little bit of his overlaying of what was going on.
His desires.
Right. Okay.
Even though he was in a trance, his desires were still there because of his muddled state due to alcohol.
Subconscious coming through.
Yes. Remember how I used to debate with him about drink?
Oh, yeah. I remember.
At great length, and how harmful it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lubrication, certainly, but it was too much imbibed. A glass of wine does not affect too much, but quite a number of beers
That'll do the trick.
will certainly let me enter easier, but it will also have his emotions intertwined with my words and feelings.
Well, it was a tough group to deal with anyway. I don't blame them sometimes. Okay. Now then, dealing with some of the things that are going to be happening coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at earthquakes and other problems within the world
Mm-hmm.
as what appears to be an acceleration of the process that is just starting.
Mm-hmm.
And where I've seen in my readings that the end will be a result of many things.
Yes.
And any one could trigger it. In other words,
Mhm.
we're working with depression, energy failure, epidemics, war, famine, earthquakes, ecological disasters.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing a lot of each of those individually, but
Yes.
not being at one time. What would be something so great that it would actually cause it?
It is more of a domino effect. A failure economically here, combined with a crop failure there, can be keys that will cause a country to have internal strife, which in turn would affect external, a domino effect.
Now, I've been thinking about trying to go hiking around through the mountains here and see if I can't find some isolated little cave somewhere for a little hideaway, just in case a problem for me and Mark could go split off to. Things got really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I think expeditions are fun and entertaining. I used to enjoy them myself.
I mean, you think there'll be a need for such a drastic step, possibly?
When that occurs, everybody will be looking for a similar retreat.
Oh.
It may be useful to have one already planned.
And all stashed away and hidden away just for
Mhm.
in case. Okay, understandable. That's all I have,
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Enjoyable session as always.
as always.
Even though we went from heavy or very heavy to the light entertainment.
Alrighty. Farewell.
Thank you, my adoring fans. Thank you. Can you hear them?
Oh yeah, I think they just saw the edge of you coming in there.
Okay. Right. Now, when I was living on Sirius and I was getting ready to move to Hades Base, right, I had a friend come over and I was all packed and everything and I had everything in the boxes ready to go. And she walked in the door and she said, "Are you moving?" And I looked at her, I said, "No, I just pack everything up but once every week or so just to see how many boxes it would take."
You really said that? What initiated your move to Hades Base anyway? Were you assigned, or you just chose?
Actually, it was partly an assignment and partly I wanted a change of scenery.
Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to leave Sirius, though. It's a beautiful planet.
Oh, it is.
Very nice. But, well, so is Earth in some of its ways, like it's going on.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll put her on.
Alright. Thank you.
She just kicked me. told me to stop hogging all the time.
Understandable.
Yes. I remember once Cara came over and I had a trolley that had one flat wheel, and she walked and she goes, "Flat tire." I said, "No, the other one's just swelled up."
Hello, my love.
Hello. What am I going to do with her?
I don't know.
She's in a wicked mood.
You sure your dad wasn't fooling around with somebody on the side? Your mom wasn't fooling around with someone on the side, and she's related to you by the same father, right?
Yes, she is. There was a time where she was about 6 years old and they tested her. It was debated.
That's good. I was still debating myself.
She was tested and she is 100% of the House of Tanaka.
Okay, cool. Okay. How come everybody calls it Tanaxa? And I've always called it Tanaka until lately, where I'm going Tanaxa.
It's a variation on the pronunciation.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one wrong.
Oh, correct, yeah, either one.
Okay.
It depends on what accent you're using. If you're using the native accent of the high hills, which is where the seat is, right?
Right.
It's Tanaxa. But if you use the lowland pronunciation of Tanaka, which is where the family gathers, not the family seat, but the family gathering point.
Well, what's it mean?
It basically means of the hills.
Oh. Okay. That makes sense.
That's why families always put in front of it the family Tanaka,
Oh,
the family of the hills.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, excellent. Well, that makes sense.
So when we
The
gather,
Highlanders.
yeah, you could say that. I suppose I'll have to go and have a kilt made up now, a tartan.
There we go.
There can only be one Highlander. Okay, you and a wee brown night tonight, you know. You're coming over to see the bands tonight, lad.
Oh, the wee band, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
It's a good job that's in your mind there.
Mm-hmm. And how are we going to deal with our little siblings deciding to make other siblings?
What is necessary is necessary. There is no defectives in my family. I know there are none in yours, so there's nothing really that much to worry about.
Okay. Now, I asked Ashtar all this, and he kind of just guessed. When I was asking about the interbreeding between me, you, Kiri T, and Mark, he says, yes.
If there's a possibility that it happened, and he answered the question, yes.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I thought maybe I could ask you for a little bit more definitive answer.
Yes, there was. I have been both your mother and your daughter and your wife and your sister. Mark has been both your brother, father, son, and so on. And the same, we've all been fathers and sons and daughters and mothers and brothers and sisters. And
well, how did T get on Durandon after spending time with us? Or were they all different planets kind of thing?
Different locations.
It wasn't just Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I'm really not fully versed on why Tia decided to go to Toronto.
Well,
or if she'd been there for a time.
Learn cat or something.
It is possible that she was doing bad things to cats and needed to learn what it was like to be of a cat the same.
Well, that makes sense, actually. That's very logical. Okay, I'll go with that. Alrighty. Now then, in reading my researches here, I'm noticing...
But I really don't see, with how much Tia loves and adores cats.
How she could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like I say, it could have been, here I am, I'm a healer. At one time I wasn't.
But one time you were a geneticist that was creating a race. But anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's all right. No,
in your studies, you were what?
Oh, in my studies, I was seeing that chromosome damage due to high caffeine is similar to what's done with LSD.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how should we cut down a little bit on what we're drinking caffeine-wise around here?
Mm.
We go through a lot of caffeine today.
I'll let you into a little bit of bad news on Mark's part. Right? He's had taken away from him. Hello. He's had taken away from him several things that he enjoys.
Right.
He loves bell peppers. He loves tomatoes. He's had them taken away.
Taking away his tea and
coffee. He's supposed to cut down, and chocolate. So why take away something that he enjoys?
Yeah,
and it's the same for you.
But I mean, chromosome damage for us. I mean, good God, we're not really planning on having too many kids down here anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids have all been raised up on Hades base, so any chromosome damage is.
But at least one child each, please.
Down here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm working on it. I worked on the other night. Now, unloving thoughts. No, they're harmful to the psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does this happen to our spiritual selves?
Because it is like a cut.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I get it. So it's like bleeding.
Correct. If you don't have another one, it heals. But if you have another one of a similar thought, before it has a chance to heal,
right,
it enlarges the cut.
But there's some people who are terminal.
Mm-hmm. You have to remember, life is a terminal experience.
That's true. But what about the fact that our cells rejuvenate themselves between 1 and 7 years? Doesn't that make us immortal? I mean, why is our outside influences so much devastating that we finally can't keep up anymore?
It's not so much that. It is that the program starts to break down.
Why?
Environmental factors, the sun being one,
radiation.
Mm-hmm. So on. There's many different factors.
So they would replenish themselves were they not just outnumbered by the different environmental factors against them. Now, as you remember, back when I was studying my white witchcraft and magical abilities and all that, I attacked it with a certain ferocity, whichever.
Ferociousness. Highlander.
I was wondering,
It's the quickening!
I want to recover that in my studies now.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't really remember how it was I went at it before. I just knew that
it was a challenge.
All-consuming.
It was a challenge.
Yeah.
I challenged you. I see.
So to make it a challenge
again. Mm-hmm. And I'm challenging you.
To do what?
To learn as much as possible.
Okay.
To be like a sponge. To suck up knowledge. Now, how much is there left on the table? It should be about 10 minutes.
I should have been more than that, actually. If I've got this right.
Mm-hmm. Look at the eyes on the bottom.
We either got 10 minutes or we got tons of time.
Let's assume we've got 10 minutes and let's put Kiri on.
Okay. Yeah, I'd assume it's 10 minutes. I don't know.
And I can always come back in if it's tons of time.
Alright.
See you later, dear.
Bye, love.
Highlander. Hey, I'm the Highlander. What am I saying?
You are the Highlander. Hi, my love.
Here's something interesting that I learned today.
Oh, what's that?
Do you know where lesbian in your language comes from?
Yeah, Lesbos, which is from the Greek, which stands for an island that Ulysses found on his travel, which was inhabited strictly by women who loved each other.
Mm-hmm. Lesbos.
Right.
Yes, in fact, I only learned that today.
Oh. Should just ask me.
No, ask Kiri.
Oh, good.
Auntie Kiri.
Right.
Auntie Lesbos.
Dolphin had a lot to do with Ulysses, actually, too.
Mm-hmm. Brave Ulysses. Right. The tale of brave Ulysses.
Good song.
Mm.
Okay, I was talking to Kara there about unloving thoughts being harmful to the psyche.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're the expert on dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Have dolphins ever have or ever demonstrated unloving thoughts?
Yes, but they won't be caught doing it.
Well, then how'd you catch it?
I've got so friendly with them that I know some of their history.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm. And you've never heard of a third-dimensional AF dolphin harming a human, have you?
Not a single one.
They just don't get caught.
So these are relatively few occurrences, and
Oh,
those
yes,
that do
exactly.
happen become epic in proportion.
Yes. Yes, they're suppressed and hidden from humans. In fact, there was one of the dolphins was telling me that it heard a story of a dolphin actually killing the human diver.
I've heard that too, but it was the way I heard it was that it was protecting him from sharks, but it just got in the way or something.
It was a little bit more complicated than that. And what they did was, they manipulated it to make it look like he was attacked by sharks.
Oh, really?
The dolphins in the area manipulated everything to cover it up.
Must have really pissed these dolphins off. That's all I can think of.
Hey, it happens. If the dolphin has good reason.
Oh, damn, we give dolphins enough reasons every single day of our lives.
But you have to remember that for a dolphin to have good reason, it has to be a very, very good reason.
Yeah, what about getting netted in exchange for trying to scarf up a few tuna?
Well, let's not discuss that.
Yeah,
So it gets me upset too.
because he's really pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, in that case, I couldn't blame the dolphins for anything they've ever done. It'd be a lot less than you've ever done to them.
Oh, certainly.
They're got every right to, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. But you see, they have a higher consciousness because they are loving.
Well, I think also is that they not only have a higher consciousness, but they have a higher responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones with the reputation of being, love and purity and light and everything.
Yeah, and never hurting humans.
Right. So they've got a big.
Little do the humans know.
They got a higher calling, though, so they ought to cover it up.
Yes,
Just for their, PR sake.
Mm-hmm. Of course. PR is very important.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I was just thinking that reasoning that out because it would be great to be able to emulate something that is always in loving harmony with its environment.
Are you coming up tonight?
Yeah.
Yes, I had an enjoyable afternoon.
Oh, what'd you do?
Well, I was working down at the Lake Dolphin area.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody around.
Ah.
And there I am in my swimsuit.
Mm-hmm.
And I come out of the water and I'm bending over, I'm washing my flippers off and my face mask and my mouth tank. And somebody starts rubbing their hand up my crotch.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Who's this?
Team.
Oh. Hey, just a picture I got of you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's it doing in the chair there?
Well, it's next to the chair, actually. I could get a thing for it.
Yeah. That's why I want to know if you're coming over tonight.
Oh,
yeah, she's in the next run. And according to Kiri, she should be getting out in about 20 minutes, and then she's got another challenge session an hour after that. So we're going to use the run next door. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wednesday night's her busy night. Now, you had a question for me.
I asked it.
No, you did? Okay.
About the dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Anyway, I'm going to have to race back to the apartment.
Okay. Where am I going to meet you at?
I'll be back at the apartment in about an hour.
Okay. I'm going to have a cup of tea.
Now, make that 2 hours.
2 hours.
Mm-hmm. I'll see you later.
All right. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, Carrie.
Hello, dude.
Yeah, you did.
Almost finished.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wish. How come I keep finding pictures of all my girls, and Mark can't find a single
Because
one?
he's a damn perfectionist.
Oh, bloody hell. It's no imagination.
He's a perfectionist.
That's fine.
When it comes to portraits and stuff, they've got to look just so.
Well, unless he learns how to paint real soon. I don't see how he's going to get one of you girls.
Yeah, true. Yep, that bikini bottom of hers was wedged nicely.
One of yours designs of it?
Yes, it was.
Well, that's just professional.
No, it wasn't intended to wedge
Criticism.
like that.
Oh, so you have to be designing, huh?
Maybe. Next design. And I've got my summer designs out.
Oh, do you know?
And I would like to talk to Leanna about them.
I'll work on getting her here.
Mhm.
I can't promise her. She's getting pretty close to her turn. Too.
Yeah, September, right?
Mhm.
And